Hello, everyone. I am Luminous Wolf. I'm kind of doing um this series, I guess, which I do weekly, where I'll just answer random questions from my friends or social media. If nothing, I'll try to answer some from online. I'm mostly doing this in terms of recently I kind of have been on off on putting myself there in streaming as well as streaming in general, and wanted to notice that like in terms of growing the channel, I am inherently talking to a wall or dead air, and sometimes for me I'm very struggling with that. So with this, I'm kind of putting myself out there in a sense of I'm just gonna make YouTube videos of me answering questions, and then kind of give myself the headspace of like doesn't matter if I'm talking to anyone, which is like why I'm doing the video. I'll constantly keep talking, and hopefully that'll steamroll to me being the first time in real life, because I could talk in real life like no tomorrow, even to one person. So it's like I want to get the ball rolling. That's where it gets it gets there. But I have about 4 questions, so it's gonna be like a short video, but not, try to get an understanding. Then want to put it out there. If anyone want to ask random things, they can. Um, these for from my friends. So, kind of to start off with the first question is, um, what is the hardest part about being a gamer as you get older? Um, I did have to think about this, because I think there are two answers or two sides to this answer. That is if you're a parent or not a parent. So I am a dad, so I'm a parent gamer. But before that, I was also going to college. I was getting older. Uh, I didn't, have kids, but I know that during the time before I had kids, I would say as you get older, around the college age, or maybe as adults, if you don't have kids, I think the freedom of gaming as much as you can, it's there. But also at the same time, it's also jobs. I know some people works at, police officer, firefighters, nurses, corporate jobs. Not all of them may have the time to play video games, and when they do, they make the time. Like organization, time management is required. That kind of does translate to the parent side of gaming. Um, it is very much difficult in that aspect because you do have to like pick and choose on what you want to do. Because in the day, in reality, even when not in the day, in reality, you are, if you're gaming, you're not spending time with your kids. If you're spending time with your kids, you're not gaming. So it depends on the age. It also depends on where you're at in life in terms of the age you're at. So like for me, example, my child is 7. She's going on to 8. Um, so like my days off, I'll game more so in the morning versus that I will at night. 'Cause at nighttime, we'll interact, we'll do our errands and stuff, and it really depends on how I am. If I'm tired or not, or really don't want to get on my gaming desk, I'll have to switch and I'll just game, or I'll just catch up on TV shows. So it really depends. The hardest part is just time. Time is the answer. It's really is the most. I don't want to say it's like a bullcrap answer, but it is like time management is important in all aspects of life, even not just gaming. So, having that being said, I think the hardest part is time management. Now, like my daughter is into gaming, um, she is getting into Pokemon a little bit more. We're talk about ZA a little bit, but I'm trying to remind her that like the she likes to do the catching all the stuff that she's on the anime, so it's like kind of just like trying to easier like, hey, this is like the anime is different from the game. So right now she's playing Pokemon Sword. I told her she had to play that and beat it. Like she had to figure everything out. She's at the YouTube. Like I'm not like not helping her, but it's more like she does the thing to with Minecraft. So she has her own way of doing things and learning. I told her like we'll work something out. Like if we need to complete the Pokedex, if that's what you want to do after everything, obviously I'll do that for you through Pokemon Home. but like everything from battling, catching, learning how to understand what weakness types are. Like she's getting all into that on her own with some of my help, but she's very excited for the Mega Evolution. So I am kind of getting that for her birthday. So like I just want to understand like we're the reason why I kind of hesitated at first and now just going with it because I am just going to work with her. So when I'm playing, I'm the teacher, and hopefully down the line we can go from there. Um, if she is going to get into competitive side of things of Pokemon, hopefully Pokemon Champion is somewhat kid friendly. It's very much up in the air. I mean, it's sure it's going to be kid friendly, but it's that was like with the Pokemon World Championship that Pokemon Champion is going to be. But I'm getting sidetracked right there. That's a entirely different conversation. Um, but yeah, the first question every day, hard part, time management is what I believe the hard part as you get older. I think a lot of people have many different things like job, family. It all it is time management. Like timing, like like when like for a lot of the streamers who are married have kids, you have to think about time management, which means they have a supportive spouse to do the thing they do, and then when they're off the screen, I think they're doing things for their family. So it's all about time management. If you're having struggle with it, kind of figure out like what is it that you're doing too much of that might be unnecessary versus like what is necessary. Because like a lot of time when I was older, I was doing a lot of you know um I wouldn't say studying, but I was doing a lot of stuff after school that didn't allow me to study. So therefore, I kind of just like focused on my study, and when I was done studying, I did a little gaming here and there, and then eventually I had kids and same thing with kids. Like you know, as an infant, it could be very much like instead of gaming at 6 o'clock at night, you're now the one sleeping, so you could be up there at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning feeding the baby while the mom sleeps, and then during that time, I would I would actually game. Like I wouldn't necessarily play a lot of online games at that time, but I would basically like, he's on my shoulder. I'm personal. I'm playing, Pokemon or RPGs, stuff like that. All about with it, and it's going to change as kids get older as well as you get older. So it's going to just fluctuate. So time management is the thing. The second question I have is, what game genre do you seek rescue in during rough mental health swings? This is I want to say complicated. I would say it's very person for person. So I'm not trying to speak to the masses, but for me during mental health swings, if I'm having a rough time, my general genre it's always been RPGs. I wouldn't say I really don't necessarily consider coaching games helpful because sometimes that could be frustrating to really think about it. Like if you're like I would think Animal Crossing, like, you're good at having, like, you're having a rough day, you play Animal Crossing, you do all that, next thing you know, you're, like, at a wall where you need, like, certain amount of coins to build a house, and you're like, "I had to wait till next day." Like, sometimes, like, those mechanics can make you frustrated, but for me, it's always been RPGs, it really depends on my mood. If I'm just really having a rough day at work, playing Destiny or Final Fantasy on my computer or my desk, does help a lot, a little bit. But if I'm like, you know, rough week, whatever, anything on my Switch really, like Mega Man Battle Network, uh, I'll play the backlog like Octopath Traveler, and most likely Pokemon is always my go-to. Like I don't think I ever had like a bad time playing Pokemon here. Just catching Pokemon, battling here and there, or finish up a game, um, or even that, or I'll just um I would do Animal Crossing with like 2 ASN. But I've actually got recently into Stardew Valley, which is surprisingly not as frustrating. I'm finding more in peace with it as I'm playing. I only just recently started. I just did like a full month cycle of it, but like um I'm pretty sure as I play here and there, I'll start get the gist of like what I really need to do versus like, okay, how do I manage the crops on it? Like to me, that feels like calming to me, so it's weird. Um, but like to the question, RPGs are usually my go-to for like anything, even good, bad, sad. It really depends on the game. Sometimes it would just be like PlayStation RPGs or something I could play on the Switch or a backlog. Oddly enough, Persona. Uh, Usually my go-to sometime when I'm really upset. Like I'll just re-download Persona 4. I'll play it out all night till I go to bed, and then I'm happy the next day. So it's RPGs. The third question is, what was the first game you played that made you realize I love video games? And the second part is, what about that game makes it feel so special to you? Now, this is like, I want to say Pokemon. I mean, Pokemon would be my general answer, but I was also watching anime at the time, so I was a pretty much a 10-year-old kid who was watching anime and was like, I want this and that. Um, so when I thought about this, I really do have to go back to the time of Mega Man Battle Network, that entire series. Um, because I just remember getting into that series. Because I was like, okay, the gameplay it was gameplay advanced, it was Mega Man. The concept sounds really good, and I think the anime did store came out a little bit after that, so I was kind of like going back and forth. But I think what I felt so special to me is that I would generally got grounded a few times in my length of time within those series because I would always bring that game with me like, to family events, family dinner, and my mom would be like, "Yo, you gotta like shut that off." And I'd be like, I can't. There's a save point. I gotta finish." So I would like hush down, look at under the table or something, and my mom would be like, "You're like just finish it, but you're grounded." Um, like she understood, but at the same time, I thought she'll take it away. I'm like, no. Um, I think for that because I was so into just the fact that it grows. For some reason, I don't know. It was just me as a kid, but I didn't realize that as each game goes on, you are evolving with the characters. And Mega Man had different mechanics as he goes on, and eventually you just start realizing, oh, this character from this first game, and then like this character from the second game. To me, it was just like I felt like I was so happy. Um, that would have a special place in my heart. And I would say like um the second game where I had most play part would be the Xenosaga series. I don't know anyone ever heard of that, but Xenosaga was a PlayStation 2 where it is so hard to even try to like I guess get it, but it had a very very, very weird, complex story that just draws you in. And I just remember also as growing up as a kid playing, the Game Boy games and the 3DS and all that and the PlayStation. Um, Xenosaga was always my game because I just remember printing out papers because like at the time, you would have to go to the library, get the FAQ stuff, and get all that. I remember Xenosaga 2 was like the worst one I think I ever had frustrated with because I kept messing up because I remember there was a point in the game that if you did not save before another save point, um, and you enter the boss fight, you're inherently screwed in terms of leveling up. Like you could go in there and try your best, but if you're worried at the exact level or having a exact skill to unlock, and you try to go back from that same point, it was impossible because you were stuck at like there was like a height jump where you could backtrack. I remember, so you had to save at save point before the boss fight. So if you couldn't get past that boss fight, I just remember I had to redo the entire save again, and I'm like, oh, that would woke me up as well. Like, okay, this is like I gotta be like real grindy at this point. But yeah, so like Mega Man Battle Network and Xeno Saga were kind of like hand in hand. I realized that I really do love video games. I love the aspect of RPGs as well as playing just a simple, a pixelated game versus playing on a console. So yeah, And last question, what is funny enough, is what is the lore behind my username, Luminous Wolf? This is funny because I just recently did a name change. So kind of backtrack on where I am now. I used to be called Zero Uno. That was a very much a high school name. I just remember at some point in high school, going to usernames, playing all like the game that required you to have the first and last name. I just remember I got tired of trying to figure out, which one. And then I realized I just need a general one that I could grow up with. Originally it was supposed to be Zero Una. Zero was supposed to be based on the concept of everything but nothing, and Una was, a girl from Final Fantasy X. Um, but I kept saying Uno instead of Una, so I was just like, nah, I'll just make that this was like a boy version of Una in my weird headspace. So that was it. Um, I had that for the longest time because it wasn't until after my son's death in 2017 that I kind of just didn't felt the name was me anymore. Um, because I went to a very dark place. Um, yeah, dark place where I honestly did not want anyone to go there anymore. I felt like what I what I've been in that place did not like what I saw. So I kind of just felt like the name Zero Uno wasn't cooperating with me. Didn't feel like that's who I am. Didn't feel like it was my identity anymore. I feel like it died along with my son. It was very much like at that moment. So Luminous Zero was the next name. I kept Zero because I self believed that I was nothing, but I was someone at the same time. Luminous was a concept that while I was in my dark place, I kept imagining, kept like, what got me out of the dark place with the flicker of light. Like the light in the tunnel, flicker of light, like I wasn't entirely in the darkness alone. So I felt like, Luminous Zero kind of like, emphasized that, you know, I want to be the person that if no matter where you're at in life, you come to me. Um, Now we're here now with Luminous Wolf. Um, because that's like Luminous Zero. I not identify with Zero much anymore. I guess I was very much putting myself in a space where I didn't think I was nothing. So therefore my mindset was nothing, and that kind of just ruined me a little bit. So I am something. I am someone. Um, I'm I'm trying to be more positive with myself, so that way I can convey that possibility to other people. So I kept Luminous as the same concept, but now it kind of sits above into a lantern. So, um, and I would have a weird motif with wolves. So, like, my image is a wolf holding a lantern, and we're walking in this dark tunnel, and you know, in my mind is that if people want to chat or have someone to talk to, just follow the lantern, and we'll have a chat. That's pretty much what my name is. The reason why I say two wolf, two F instead of one because apparently living as wolf is somewhat common, but like a lot of names that were taken haven't been used in years, and I really don't want to go through all the hurdles. I think they would twist weirdly enough. So Luminous Wolf with two F's makes it stand out, but also I like it. I'm weird, so it's a weird name. So that's my lore. Um, yeah, like I think Luminous Wolf is more fits me as a person, and I could grow with it. Like I said, I had weird motif with the wolf. Since I was a kid, it's always been like that was my spirit animal. That was always been my animal. Um, and then limited is kind of like from that flicker of light um to a concrete image of a lantern, and I can still illuminate the fact that I can understand that um everyone may not be where they're at or may not be okay, and it's okay to not be okay. And I want people to understand that just because we don't talk or whatever, or you may not think that anyone cares about you. I do. Uh, and so, like, if we're talking, like, a metaverse or a digital world where everyone has an avatar, mine would pretty much be, a hooded boy holding a lantern with a wolf by his side. Weirdly enough, that's how I see myself in the digital space. I just see I'm nothing like that in person. But yeah, so I hope that anyone watching this enjoys this little series I'm doing. I'm gonna try to do every week. Um, I'm gonna try to get myself into a better streaming schedule as well. This is kind of help me like let's get back to being the talkative person. Yeah, I feel shy for some reason. I don't. I feel like I can disconnect my personality with my online personality. Gotta be the same. Um, so thank you all for watching. Please give me your feedback. I would really much appreciate it. And I'll see you Starside. Bye bye, guys.